Okay, we're going to work on our guide plate drawing. This is our guide plate. It's located on page 1-19 of your book, chapter 1, page 19. If you don't have your book yet, I put a copy of this up in Canvas, or if it's not there, it will be very soon. So what's new here, what we're going to bring into play, is the addition of circles. Otherwise, this drawing is relatively simple and relatively straightforward. So let's just get right to it. So I'm going to just take note that we're going up by 6.5 here, over by 6.5. Total length is 8, so this dimension has to be 1.5. And then if this is 5.5, we're up at 6.5. We have to drop down by 1. So the diagonal here will be 1 in the x, 1.5 in the x and minus 1 in the y. So let's go ahead and draw that part. So we're simply going to start with a line. And before I do, let's just take note that we have our polar tracking is on, and our angles are just set for 90, 180, 270, and 360. We're not looking to add any specific angles. Our snap reference lines object snap tracking is on. And then our snap cursor to 2D reference points is also on. And here we have, well, endpoint, midpoint, center of the circle, quadrants. For the most part, this doesn't really matter much. The only one that really matters is endpoint. So really, we're just at the default here. Okay, so let's just start drawing. So we don't need to reference any starting point. So all we do is pick a point, make a vertical line, 6.5 up. Let me just pan down just a little bit. Looks like we got lucky and this turned out to be our actual size. But once you make that first line, you should always pan and zoom to get your drawing to the right size. So now we're going to go over by 6.5. Now for that diagonal, remember we're going over by 1.5 and then down by 1. So we're going to type at 1.5, comma, minus 1. There's our diagonal. Looking back to this quickly, we see here we have 5.5 and 2.5, so we have to come down by 3. Then we're going to put a cut in of 2.5 and 2.5, and then finally we'll finish the drawing. So we're going to come down by 3, come back by 2.5, down by 2.5, and then over to finish the drawing. And once we get the block, either the circle or the X, we know that we're at the junction point, and we can press our left mouse button to end the end the line there, hit escape. So we've done our outside block. So the next thing we need to do is put in these circles. So there are many different ways we can put in the circle. And if I just hover over the circle for a second, you can see it'll say circle, press F11 for more help. This circle will create a circle using a center point and a radius. I'm going to hit F11, and I didn't see that circle menu come up. But there are 2, 3, I think 4 or 5 different ways to make a circle. We can do a tan radius, TTR, a 2-point, So with a 2-point circle, we do 2 points, and those 2 points are assumed to be the diameter. If we do 3 points, we do a circle where those 3 points are on the outer edge of that circle. And then we can do a circle with a diameter or a radius. So if we just do nothing and just give a point, we're going to do a circle with a diameter and a radius. I'm sorry, a circle with a diameter or a radius. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, let's see what we need to make. So we need to make a circle, and we see this, I forget, I believe this is either phi or psi. But this circle with the diagonal line, that's the indication of the diameter. If it was a radius, it would be a capital R. So this has a diameter of 2.5, and then it's located 2.5 in the x dimension over, and 3 in the y dimension up from this point. So let's go ahead and make that circle. Let's come back to AutoCAD. So we need to choose first circle, and then we need to snap from. So we're going to come up here, snap from. We choose our corner. Then we have to type at 2.5, comma 3. And I think it didn't get my at symbol for some reason, or I said at but didn't type it. So let's try that one more time. Let's go back. Circle. Snap from. Choose here. At. .5, comma 3. Okay, so there we go. So now we need to put in our diameter. Now if you look down here in the text box, it says specify radius of circle or diameter. So if I want to type the diameter, I have to come down here and first type a D. And then I can type the diameter. So I type the D, hit return, and then I can type 2.5. And there we go, it puts our circle in. Now, let's say you didn't type that D. Let's see what happens. I'm going to delete this. Circle, snap from, go to this point, my offset at 2.5, comma 3, enter. And again, now I forget to type the diameter, so I just type my 2.5. So that 2.5 that I put in becomes a radius. My circle is twice as big. This will happen, I don't want to say fairly often, but potentially fairly often, until you get really comfortable. How do you correct that? Well, you could delete it and start over again, but it's not necessary. What you can do is just click on the circle to select it. So that's a left mouse click. Then right mouse click to bring up this menu. Come all the way to the bottom to Quick Properties. And at Quick Properties, it brings up the circle properties, and look here. We see the radius of 2.5 and the diameter of 5. We can simply change this. So we change the diameter of 5 to 2.5. We hit enter. The radius gets updated as well, of course, because if the diameter changes, the radius has to change. And now we've corrected our circle. So you don't have to go and delete it if you make a mistake. I'm going to cancel that out. Let's do the other circle now. Actually, before we do the other circle, let's talk about this circle up here in this ribbon at the top. What I like to do with these circles is this circle always simply defaults to center point radius. If you want to change it, you have to come down in the text box and type TTR or TTT or 2P for 2 point or 3P for 3 point. And then, of course, if it's just a diameter or radius, you're going to have to type D for diameter. However, this circle, you see this little downward arrow, allows us to select what we want, whatever circle we want. So again, it usually defaults to this, and you can see it shows a radius. But if I hit my downward arrow, I can select and choose the diameter for a circle. Or I can choose a 2-point circle, or a 3-point circle, the tan radius. Tan radius, for instance, would put a circle in, I'll just give you a real quick example. A circle that touches this edge and touches that edge, and then I put in a radius. So I can put a radius here of, let's put a radius of 3. And that's what that circle is. So it automatically determines where the circle would have to be. So they would have a radius of 3, and it would just touch this edge and just touch that edge. So I'll go ahead and delete that. And then we have a tan. Anyway, what I like to do is I like to set this one up for center diameter. So that whenever I want a circle with a radius, I choose this circle. Whenever I want a circle with a diameter, I'll choose this circle. And then I don't have to really type anything except either the radius or the diameter. So let's do this for the second circle. So here we're at circle diameter, so I simply hit circle. And then I haven't done this yet, but I'll hit circle, snap to, and then put in my dimensions. We haven't talked about the dimensions yet, so let's take a look at that. So here are dimensions. If we take a look at this circle happens to dimension from this point. So why don't we go ahead and do that? We're going to do a snap from this point. So from this point, the x is 5, and the y is going to be minus 1.5. We could just as equally do a snap from here. If we did a snap from here, the x would still be 5, but the y would be 6.5 minus 1.5, or 5 as well. So if we did a snap from here, it would be 5, 5. I'm going to do a snap from up here, so it will be 5 and then minus 1.5. And diameter is 1.5. So again, this circle is set up for center diameter. So I click on circle, I click on snap from, I click here, I type at 5, comma, minus 1.5, I hit enter, and then now you can see it says specified diameter, so now I just type 1.5, and I hit enter. Okay, so that's our drawing, except, and again, remember, we're not doing dimensions at all. We'll start dimensions later. What we're missing here is we don't have these little center marks. So let's go in and let's put these center marks in. And the reason you need these is to tell somebody that this circle is based off what the center hole is. So in order to do that, we use this. This is the center mark tool. Now, We may have, see this, it says the default size of the center mark can be set from the dimension style manager. Either the symbols and arrows tab, center marks, DIMCEN systems variable. So I click on this, and then we want to, it'll say specify an arc or circle. So I click on the outside edge, and right there, see it put our center mark in. And again, I click, I can't, this, for some reason, this does not leave you in center mark mode. So we have to do it again. We click on center mark and we click here. Now, some of you may not have seen this little center mark. You may have gotten a very large center mark. I don't recall what the default is, and I don't recall if this my AutoCAD is set up for the default. So that's why I want to bring this up now. So in order to check it, we're going to use the Dimension Style Manager. So if we go into Format, Dimension Style, we have the standard dimension. We click Modify. I'm really not sure why that took so long to open. But then let's go over into symbols and arrows. And for center marks, you see there's a mark and then there's a line. In order to get the small center mark, it should be set to mark. And here you see the mark is by default, I think the default is 0.090, 90 mils. If it's set to line, you should change it to mark. And let me show you what line does for those of you who might have it set to mark. And again, you may all have it set to mark. I don't recall. So let's, and I think I'll check that actually in class. So you should already know the answer to this by the time you look at this. So let's go to, I'm going to set it to line though, and hit OK, and hit close. I'm going to delete this center mark, and then make a new one. So I clicked on center mark, and now I want to select the arc. Line center mark will take it all the way out just past the size of the circle. So you still get a small center mark, and then you get these large lines that extend out from that. Again, we want the small center mark, so we're going to come down here, type undo to delete it. I'm going to go back into my format, dimension style, modify, put it back to mark, click OK, click close, click on the center mark, and then click on the outside edge of the circle to put our small center mark back in. Okay, so this drawing is now done. Again, we're not doing dimensions yet, so you can go ahead and save it. I've already saved this before I started as guide plate. You should also save it as guide plate. And I can simply just click up here, save. If you haven't saved it at all, you'll have to do a save as. And that is the end of this video.